Hey everybody, two reasons why we're sending this out again. First is that a lot of people didn't get the email when we sent it out the first time. And so what we've had to do is change email platforms. Second reason is that this happens to be the most important information I've ever been able to compress and provide in a video. What it actually indicates is a path toward the answer to solve the problem of goals. Now, any of you who know me know I've been working on goals for my entire consulting career, the past 30 years. And, I've had lots of different attacks on it. Well, what's in this video, and you really do want to watch it, is the beginning of how to answer it for yourself. We will be able, when we execute what's in this video, to find the most important area for you to work on and the most important area for you to learn from and make progress. I think you're going to really enjoy it, and I'm telling you, it's the most important information I've ever shared.
Hey everybody, Nico here with my father, Pasquale, the Consigliori.
Good morning, everybody.
And today we're going to talk about reducing the daily drudgery of recruiting. Do you feel like one day is no different than the next, or that any given day doesn't make that much of a difference? Maybe some days you feel good about the work because you made the placement, or you submitted the great candidate and you're arranging the send out. But most days, it's like pushing a rock up a hill only to watch it roll back down. Well, the good news is we have a tried and true solution to this problem. Every day can matter. Each and every day can be meaningful if you attack it in the right way. The bad news is, like anything else in life that's worthwhile, it's going to take some work and it's going to take some discipline. But if you're not interested in that, then you tuned into the wrong channel. Am I right? Yeah. Usually I plug the Talent Broker program, talentbrokerprogram.com.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right now I want to talk to you about something else. The company that helps us produce these videos is fantastic.
Amazing.
They're called Viral Marketing, Viral with a Y, V-Y-R-A-L. Check out getviral.com.
Absolutely.
They can help you produce videos like this too, to send out to your candidates and to your database. They help you from scratch, build your database out, and then market to it with regularity, providing you with all the skills, providing you with all the infrastructure. They basically do all the work for you, and then make it so that you've got pretty much regular constant contact with your people, so you're always first in mind when they're thinking about changing careers, or when a hiring manager is looking for a new candidate for a new position.
Let me say a word on that, Nico.
Please.
When it comes to the viral people, you're going to find that they are much better at accountability than Nico and I are. Now, we serve our people for accountability. We do the best we can, and I'll claim we're good at strategic accountability, better than tactical.
Sure.
Would you agree?
Yes.
The viral people have mastered the art of marketing. Generating your own video, sending out your emails, putting it onto a schedule, all the way down to tactical perfection, and you don't want to mess with them over accountability. Accountability is the reason to hire them. Check them out. Where again?
Getviral.com, viral with a Y.
Awesome. Awesome people.
So, Papa, having coached as many recruiters as you have, what's your perspective, what's your experience on this daily drudgery that many of them suffer with?
Wow, it's a complex thing. Let me see if I can crunch it all down to the most important part, Nico. Drudgery comes from losing your direction. It's kind of like if you can picture a ship out there in the middle of the ocean without a gyroscope. The gyroscope goes off, right? For whatever reason, it gets messed up. That gyroscope, or a boat that's got the keel that drops down underneath into the water that keeps it kind of moving. So you got the wind coming in, right? You pull that keel up, the wind's going to push the boat anywhere. That's the basis of drudgery. Recruiters, they lose their vision of where they're going, and most of all, they lose their connection of what I'm doing right now. This phone call, this morning, this afternoon, why am I on this search? Who do I go to talk to because I need a job order? And they lose their vision of where they're going and how the action right now ties directly to that. So the answer is going to have to include some kind of keel, or I like that gyroscope a lot. Sure. It's going to have a gyroscope force to keep you on target even when you lose sight. The drudgery is your symptom that you're off target and have forgotten what the target is and don't understand why these endeavors are leading you to that destination.
So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the solution is to have some sort of mission, but to have it defined in a way that you can look at it from even just a single week, and how that week is a mission in and of itself, but it's playing towards a larger goal.
Yes.
So we look at the week and we say, this is what I'm trying to achieve
Yes.
this week, and we quantify it.
Yes.
You have to have a number. You have to have a number, because that gives you a line that you either cross or you don't. You either
Yes.
achieve this or you don't achieve it. But even looking at it from a week is too big a chunk. We don't work in weeks. We
No,
work
we don't.
in a day-to-day basis. So what we need to do is take that goal for the week and split it up into fifths. Each day is 20% of the goal.
Exactly.
And then each day we've committed ourselves to hitting that, to crossing that line of 20% towards our weekly goal. So we're talking about metrics.
Numbers.
We're talking about analytics and
Analytics.
so, I mean, it may be a scary subject for
It is.
some, but if you want to recapture a daily sense of meaning, you need to know that each day does matter, and it does so cumulatively towards that numeric goal for the week.
You've nailed it. You've absolutely nailed it. Now, there's a couple of points I want to add to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, is that a week itself is still a large amount of time, and it's a complex thing.
Okay.
So we got all these different activities. We have the famous, or at least it used to be famous, 360-degree recruiter, the full circle recruiter that has to do their own marketing, has to do their own searching, all their own research, all their own planning. If you take a look at that 360-degree recruiter, hard for a guy with a lisp. Anyway, if you look at that, there's so many different activities in any given week, and you might focus more on marketing one week, more on recruiting another, etc. It's so hard for people to find something over which to say one day equals 20% of 5 days. 5 times 20% is 100% for 1 week, right? People struggle with that. And so in order to get this, we've got to do our analysis and refine what we're focusing on down to a single activity. Now, if you focus, it's much easier, by the way, with what used to be called project coordinators, researchers, research assistants, lots of different names. But if you focus exclusively on your recruiter who does no marketing, it appears to be easier at first. And yet, even there, what about LinkedIn with its in-mails? What about all the research functions? What about emails? What about text messages? What about all the various activities of reaching out? And so my cop-out for all, and I love all of those things. They're awesome, right? My cop-out for all it is to call it a search plan as opposed to a call plan. You got to be able to reduce your search plan down to today's activities. But to really get the idea, we've got to focus all the way down to a single thing. One thing. Okay. So the example I want to use, and I don't want anybody to think I'm recommending this as your correct goal. That's a totally different topic, okay? So this is hypothetical. Let's say you wanted to have 20 candidate data sheets that you wrote up in any given week.
Yeah.
All right. If we can focus exclusively on that one item, then we can start to get our metrics worked out.
And with that simplicity, because you mapped out a lot of complexity about choosing, what are we focusing on, what are we working on. So there is.
But boy, that's real. People struggle with that.
Finding that one thing, though, is what makes meaning and makes each day matter.
Yes.
When you've determined what that one thing is, and then you've dedicated yourself to it on a daily basis. So if you should be having 20 of these candidate conversations a week,
that you write up on a form of some form. I'm not talking resumes here. I'm talking my example, my hypothetical, 20 candidate data sheets, where as opposed to what they send you on their resume, it's all the questions you ask and the answers you take careful note of and register in some form.
Well, that's meaningful that way as well.
It's black and white, too.
Yeah. Getting somebody's resume is easy. Having a deeper conversation with them is the next level.
Much harder.
But
and better.
20 of those in a week, divide that by 5, it's 4 a day. So with 4 a day, you then know that today's Monday, today's Tuesday, today's Wednesday.
Yes.
My minimum goal, the line that I need to cross
Yes.
in order to be happy at the end of the day with what I did, to feel a sense of accomplishment, to know that that day mattered, 4 candidate data sheets. If you've done 4, you're good. If you haven't done 4, then you didn't work hard enough maybe, or you didn't overcome whatever obstacles presented themselves, or maybe you didn't do enough planning. But that's an analysis that you then go through so that the next day, the likelihood of you hitting your 4 candidate data sheet minimum goal increases. So that's on the recruiting side. What would you recommend on like the marketing side?
Oh, let's turn to that in a second, but let me add 2 more points to what you just said.
Sure.
In the analysis of how we miss those 4 on any given day, the single greatest reason, believe it or not, is that we didn't focus on it enough and we totally forgot. We get distracted. We have one great candidate conversation, right? Mm-hmm. It's absolutely a candidate that needs to be presented yesterday afternoon on an open search that we're desperate to get some quality in on, right? So we go, we have these conversations, we turn here, we turn there, and then we feel so good about that, rightly. Those were all good things. We totally forget about the other 3 we need to do. Sure. Or maybe we get 1 or 2 more, but we got to run at the, see what I'm saying? Yeah. We lose our focus. So by having focus, we're able to hit a goal that we would never be able to hit without focus. And the funny thing is that when your goal was the 4 candidate data sheets, not the 1 presentation or send out, but the 4 candidate data sheets, you're thrilled the moment you get the send out. But then at the end of the day, you still wonder, like, what did I do? And if you don't remember what your line was, you don't remember you needed those 4, you start falling behind for the week on the 4 per day. And that may, before we go to marketing, that may be even more important to dive into.
Okay, well then.
But I do want to do a marketing one before we're done.
We'll do. Then let me ask you this then, because some of our viewers right now may say, yeah, that's great. 4 candidate data sheets a week and
a day.
I'm sorry, 4 a day, 20 a week. But how do you know that in and of itself is going to make a difference? How can you be sure that that's going to be meaningful towards a larger goal? We're not here to do candidate data sheets for, the joy of candidate data sheets. We're here to make placements. We're here to make money. So how do you know that the 20 and the 4 per day is actually meaningful?
It's a fantastic question. Awesome question. It's kind of daunting because it's impossible to prove. And it's impossible to, like, if somebody's going to hold on to that, you have to let them because you can't overcome by force. But I'll tell you what I think. I think it's like a chaotic jigsaw puzzle. So that, we start working on our exterior perimeter, right, with the jigsaw puzzle, and then we see a pattern, and we got all the parts over here for the pattern. We move away from the, what do you call that perimeter? The outline.
The edges.
The edges, right? So you move away from the edges to something in the center because you got a few parts for it, you start to see it, and then you get stuck there, and then, recruiting is just like that. It's a chaotic jigsaw puzzle. We never know that what we're working on right now is exactly the right thing to do to hit all of our goals for a quarter or an entire year. And so my answer, with due respect, truly great respect to the complexity and the difficulty of the challenge, is that we, as humans, we have to make a choice. We have to decide if we're going to focus on something or not. And the only way to make a day meaningful is to have a weekly goal. If you can't set those 20 CD, and I don't care if it's 10 or if it's 30 or whatever the number is, I'm not recommending anybody's goal out of context, right? Hypothetical example. So running with our 20. Once you've decided that the 20 are your goal for the week, you have to learn how to care about that goal. In our prep, I worked up a list of things that we have to care about. What did you think of that list?
I think it's a good list, and I think it's deep.
The proof of numerical caring. That is, caring about a single goal isolated as a number. Number 1, we must care each day whether or not we hit our numerical goal for that day. Number 2, we must care each day about the impact of hitting or missing today's goal as it relates to the entire week's numerical goal. Number 3, we must care about the week's goal, all the way to the point where we'll correct our behavior so as to hit it. Number 4, we must most especially care as the cumulative percent of goal begins to predict failure for the week. That means that 5, as one's failure is followed by another, we must care more and work more to correct so that the week's goal can be hit. All of which leads to 3 other forms of caring. Number 6, we must care about the force, effectiveness, intelligence, accuracy, proficiency, and practice of planning, and learn how to enhance our planning during any given week as our percentages fall off so as to correct for them. And number 7, we must care about the intensity and the rising intensity of our dedication, commitment, focus, sacrifice, endeavor, and just plain hard work, harder and harder work, until we learn how to hit our daily goals as a steady floor and not randomly. And number 8, the word for this is floor. Our weekly goal must become a floor beneath which we do not drop, ever. If you learn how to do that, no one will ever be able to accuse you of not caring, least of all, yourself.
Finding what you care about and what you don't care about is pretty critical.
Yes.
Because if you care on a daily basis whether or not you make a placement that day, then you're gonna burn out.
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna be disappointed more days than not, and that's no way to live. So knowing what to care about
and what we choose to care about, and breaking it down in this particular manner. And when we, put the list in, when our video people edit it in or whatever, with that list, you'll see there are all these different things you got to learn how to care about. But the 2 I'm going to focus on right now are assuming that we've used our hypothetical goal adequately with 20 candidate data sheets, that you care for this week to get all 20, right? You want to get all 20. Then you have to learn how to care each day for today's 4.
Okay.
If you can't care for today's 4, any imagining that you've got that you care for this week's 20 is self-delusion. You're lying to yourself. If you can't care about 4 for today, you can't care about 20 for the week.
Okay. Give us a quick example for on the marketing side.
I'll use my own number here. Again, hypothetical number, right? 1. One honest, good, where we break through the surface. So we break the ice at the beginning of the call. We break through the surface and get over the resistance to actually communicate one real conversation with a new prospective hiring manager. Now, I'm going strategic here as opposed to tactical and all of this stuff, I know. But strategically, all these people that you already know that are warm calls, that say, hey, how are you, when you dial the phone, they're good for you. And they're good things, and I'm not opposed to them. But they always end up creating the limits inside which we live as marketers, right? Mm-hmm. Our job as marketers to reach out to new people.
Sure.
And so if you will set a goal of one such conversation a day, forgetting all about our numbers and metrics and analytics, that actually is a goal I believe in. Where now maybe it needs to be more than that, okay? But if you don't have even that much, then you're really not doing marketing. And so to bring this right back to today's topic, 5.
5 a week, 1 a day.
Yes.
Conversation with a hiring manager. Okay. So 2 good examples, candidate data sheets on the recruiting side. Such a conversation, what would you call it?
It's often called a job order lead, kind of a boring title.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like a deep connection.
Okay.
Or a real connection, if not deep, right? A real conversation, something to that effect. But it's got to be a new one.
And so what I think you can take with that, even if you were to go ahead and adopt those goals, you felt like those specific numbers worked for you, then you're looking at a week where every day you're dedicated to the mission of 4 candidate data sheets and 1 such deep conversation with a hiring manager. Accomplish those 5 things on any given day, And nobody can argue that you didn't have a good day.
Absolutely right.
That you didn't work hard and that you didn't achieve something. Was it a placement? No. But again, you can't get a placement every day, but what can you get every day that can define your day as being a success or a failure, as being something that, you just went through the motions, or you went out and you did something today so you can go home and feel good about what you did.
Absolutely. A couple of more points just to add in conclusion here. We've emphasized caring. You've got to care about the weekly. You've got to care about the daily. But that daily, and let's stick with those 5 marketing connections, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't have one on Monday and you didn't have one on Tuesday, you've only got 3 days in which to complete 5 of them. Mm-hmm. That's a different kind of caring. Yeah. So that's where I don't know if it's awkward or not. I'm not totally happy with it, but my term for this is a daily percent of a weekly goal. Mm-hmm. And it indicates its own kind of caring. So that if at the end of Tuesday, I'm still 0 in against a goal of 5, then that means I have to plan 3 days in which to achieve all 5 for the entire week. Because even though I suffered my failures on Monday and Tuesday, I still have a living week in play. Mm-hmm. And so what immediately happens when you start to care not only about the weekly goal itself, but about your daily percent as the days roll by of your weekly goal, everyone discovers planning in a new way. They discover dedication in a new way. So then, let's say you really come in with intention on Wednesday. You're really going to have this conversation happen. And let's say you even really work hard at it, right? You make all these outbound calls, but you never have the one conversation. So now you're 3 days down. You've got 2 days to get 5 done. That's a different kind of caring. A different kind. And so you then look at how you plan. You look at how you prepare in advance of your work. And you look at your dedication to your endeavor during the day. It brings out things in you didn't know you had. These are totally different kinds of caring.
Yeah, and when you care, then you're going to feel good about what you did do or not feel good about what you didn't do.
Exactly.
And that's how you reduce the drudgery.
You have to embrace that.
That's how every day can be meaningful, because personally, I would rather have a day where I feel like, I don't feel good about what I accomplished and I want to do better, as compared to a day where I'm apathetic.
Exactly.
So having the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat into every day is a good thing, because you'll be invested into it, and you'll have stronger emotions about things, and most importantly, you'll be focused on making every day a successful one.
Absolutely.
All right. So, lastly, again, please do check out getviral.com with a Y.
Do.
They're great people. Scott Solari.
The best.
Laura Wheel. These people, they've built great relationships with us, and we really appreciate everything
they work so
they're doing.
hard. They really do.
And they would work no less hard for you. So do check them out. And if you have any questions about your daily drudgery, or how you can take the lessons from this video and apply them specifically to you, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Hit reply to this email or give us a call. We'll be happy to talk to you about it and help you make every day more meaningful.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Bye now.